Into the Forest is a dramatic thriller that explores the bond two sisters develop after a worldwide apocalypse. Directed by one of Canadian cinema's acclaimed voices, Patricia Rozema, the film stars Canadian actress Ellen Page and American actress Evan Rachel Wood. This is a film made by a female director, with a strong female cast centering on ideas of female empowerment. Thus, it passes the so-called Bechdel test, a simple series of questions you can ask while watching a film. A film must satisfy the following 3 criteria to pass. It has to have at least 2 named female characters who talk to each other about something other than a man. This test originated from Alison Bechdel's comic Dykes to Watch Out For, in a 1985 strip called The Rule. It's amazing how many films don't pass this test, and their failure serves as a reminder of the inequality still present in our media landscape. For this reason, among many others, it's crucial to explore the construction of Canadian cinema by honoring the important women who have shaped Canada's film industry. There are many striking short and feature narratives, documentaries, and moving image installations made by internationally recognized Canadian female filmmakers. These women continue to make significant contributions to the representation of our shared multicultural identity. Patricia Rozema's success remains the exception within a distinctly imbalanced gender dynamic in the Canadian and North American film industries. The underrepresentation of female voices directly reflects the barriers they face when trying to tell female-centered stories. Some of these barriers are caused by funding decisions, driven by gender bias and a male-saturated marketplace. For example, only 17% of the largest 91 feature films financed last year by Telefilm Canada were directed by Canadian women. Female filmmakers not only deserve equal representation behind the camera, but creative control over their film's content, form, and means of production. And while there remains a gender gap in both the Canadian and American film industries, Canada is fortunate to have many female filmmakers initiating positive change. Understanding our ways of watching can help us identify how we see females in front of and behind the camera. In order to understand modes of perception, we should consider the gaze, which describes the way we watch something in relation to our sexual or gender identity. Film theorists argue that there are many gazes, such as male, female, queer, and non-binary. A non-binary gaze is neither exclusively masculine or feminine, and a non-binary identity may express both or neither. For this reason, when referring to non-binary individuals, the use of the personal pronouns their and they are preferred over he or she. Joshua Ferguson is one of Vancouver's most notable non-binary filmmakers. Their notable short film Lamina follows a curious gender-fluid child and their positive impact on a village. Much of the media we regularly consume is filtered through the male gaze. According to Laura Mulvey, the male gaze denies women human identity, relegating them to the status of objects to be admired for physical appearance. Represented on screen, the female is often portrayed as a spectacle. No matter the gender of the viewer, when a filmmaker presents the male gaze, the spectator adopts a male perspective. There is an alternative. When a female filmmaker aims to represent a female perspective on film, this is called the female gaze. The female gaze adopts 3 viewpoints: the individual filming, the characters within the film, and the spectator. In other words, the woman is an active storyteller and a meaningful part of the story. Though early cinema was dominated by male filmmakers, in the 1960s, this began to change in Canada. A group of Quebecois female filmmakers from the National Film Board began to challenge the construct of the male gaze, bringing forth their own points of view.
Rien qui pouvait empêcher quelqu'un de passionné de fonctionner au Québec. Il y avait un mouvement très, très fort d'énergie, de désir de changer les choses, de désir de créer, de faire des choses. Alors bon, mais c'est une vague qui portait tout le monde.
C'est là que les femmes sont arrivées avec la vie privée et politique. Et ça, c'est l'affaire la plus... C'est la phrase la plus extraordinaire qui est sortie dans ces années-là. La vie privée et politique.
Mais personne n'y croyait.
À partir du
On
moment...
nous a pas cru.
Ben, moi, j'y croyais en...
Oui,
j'y
mais
crois encore. Non, mais quand même, Mireille, on peut... Même s'ils ne croyaient pas, puis qu'ils ne croient pas, puis tout ça,
Ouais, c'est
il
vrai.
reste que...
Ça nous a permis de continuer.
On le sait que c'est vrai. On savait que c'était vrai.
The initiation of female-made NFB work encouraged a Quebecois movement of female filmmakers. Their work encouraged female filmmakers all over Canada to tell their own stories.
La chose qui est importante, c'est que on a été des pionniers là-dedans, puis il faut qu'on garde la trace pour que les gens voient que c'est possible, puis qu'ils continuent. T'sais.
Moi, j'ai toujours été dirigée par des gars. Ben, je fais toujours des filles qui sont des waitresses, puis qui sont sexy, puis qui vont... Elle dit, ça, c'est ma spécialité. Là. Ils viennent me chercher pour ça. Elle dit, j'aimerais ça faire autre chose.
In spite of many systemic challenges, these female voices are succeeding because they express their unique ideas and stories. One of Canada's most distinguished female filmmakers is Sarah Polley. Originally an actress, starring in both Canadian and Hollywood films, she has since paved her way as a versatile, acclaimed Canadian director. After directing 2 successful feature films, including the Academy Award-nominated drama Away From Her, she made the powerful documentary Stories We Tell. This film was a great success that was named one of Canada's top 10 of 2012 by the Toronto International Film Festival, and one of Canada 150's Essential Moving Image Works during Canada 150's birthday in 2017. Produced by the National Film Board of Canada, Stories We Tell shows how Polly exposed a secret in her own family. The film playfully subverts the documentary format by combining interviews with Polly's family and recreations of historical events that are disguised as authentic home movies. Polly's curiosity with the traditional documentary format is reflected in her blend of fiction and documentary. She weaves together 3 threads of representation: building up and then breaking down how we see her as a documentary filmmaker, how we learn about her family as subjects, and how we understand storytelling itself. In the film, Polly invites the viewer to become an active participant in her experience. She uses Stories We Tell to invite her viewers to better understand how we piece together the stories of others, as well as how we construct our own family stories. Alanni Sabamsawin is one of Canada's most celebrated Indigenous documentary filmmakers. In her film Cinematheque, 270 Years of Resistance, she films 78 days and nights of the Oka crisis that pitted a group of Quebec Mohawks against the town of Oka, Quebec, as well as the Canadian military. The film was initially difficult for Abomsawin to screen with CBC, who argued that 30 minutes from the 2-hour film needed to be cut to make room for commercial breaks. However, public interest over Cinematheque overpowered the CBC's reluctance, and the network aired it in full in January 1994. The film's release was met with incredible response and was awarded accordingly. The film racked up several awards, including the Distinguished Documentary Achievement Award from the International Documentary Association. During the conflict, the reporting news represented the perspective of the Canadian Army. Alanni Sabamsawin's perspective reflects an Indigenous experience from inside the relentless conflict. Her documentary honors the Abenaki oral tradition by passing down a culture's history and beliefs to future generations, this time represented on film. Anne Wheeler is another important female filmmaker in Canada's film industry. One of her most acclaimed works is 1987's Loyalties, which highlights Indigenous representation in a dramatic feature film. Set in a small town in Alberta, Loyalties is a socially conscious tale which focuses on the relationship between a Métis woman and an upper-middle-class English woman. Anne Wheeler's interest in capturing ordinary women as genuine, layered individuals extends to her portrayal of Indigenous peoples, not as caricatures, but as rounded, complex human beings. It is one of the first Canadian films to actually show such a layered portrayal and highlights the impact of female directorship. As Wheeler states, "I can't make films from any other perspective than a woman's perspective. That's who I am, and proud of it." Another documentarian, Jennifer Bachwal, gained international acclaim with her 2006 documentary film Manufactured Landscapes. This striking film explores various global landscapes that are altered by large-scale human activity, as they are captured in the photographs and videos of visual artist Ed Bertinsky. The film debuted at the Toronto International Film Festival, where it won the prize for Best Canadian Film. It also won Canada's Genie Award for Best Documentary. Bachwell's documentary offers little vocal commentary to offer judgments or resolution. Instead, she allows the images to speak for themselves, creating a contemplative, almost meditative experience for the viewer. As Bachwell intended, the film is a record of the shocking impacts of large-scale manufacturing industries. The film forces the viewer to sit with their own thoughts and ideas about the way that we've manufactured our world. These female filmmakers, recognized for their work here in Canada and abroad, showcase just a small selection of the kinds of films created by female artists. TIFF has introduced an initiative to combat gender disparity with a Share Her Journey campaign. This $3 million charitable campaign commitment supports women in the film industry, aiming to increase participation, skills, and opportunities for women behind and in front of the camera. Telefilm has announced that by 2020, there will be a balanced production portfolio at all budget levels. Other outlets, including various Canadian film festivals and TELUS Story Hive for emerging artists, continue to serve as positive platforms of exposure. And organizations like Women in Film offer support to women trying to find their place in the Canadian film industry. Diversity and inclusion within Canadian cinema offer us multiple perspectives of the world that we live in. If we are accustomed to seeing the world through only one gaze, we are missing a wealth of new ideas. As spectators, it is now up to us to support and embrace these varied perspectives.